It's called the Dolly Parton Experience.
Yes, it is.
It's a multimedia experience.
Yes, it is.
You were trying to put all of your life into one show, which seems to me almost impossible.
Well, we did a pretty good job of it. Dollywood, they really got some wonderful people putting things together here, and then I had my team out of Nashville working on it as well. We used to have a museum where we had all of our artifacts and all, then we thought, well, we need something bigger, we need something better.
Yeah.
So we got to keep up with the times, and everything is so digital.
Yeah.
So it was an easier way and a much more exciting way. And I think people relate to it more these days than they, do just looking at the things. So, but it tells my story from my childhood all the way through my career, all the people that I've worked with. We go through everything from my family and the clothes, the hair, the stories, and it just really covers everything.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of chapters, Dolly.
I know, well, I've been at this a long time.
No, but they're
I've got a long way to go.
They're also interesting, and they're also different. I was struck by the fact that, and I know this is ground you've covered before, but in so many ways, when I go back and read your story, it feels like you knew this was going to happen.
Well, I just started so young that the music was in our blood, as we talked about.
Yeah.
We're doing a history of, documentary and stuff of my family and tracing our musical roots all the way back. But I just always loved it, and I had an uncle that really took great interest in me, my Uncle Bill. He saw early on that I was so serious about it, from the time I was 7, 8, 9 years old when I started learning to play the guitar.
He's the one who took you to audition for a TV show when you were 10?
Yes. That was the Cass Walker show.
Yes.
So yeah, my Uncle Bill, helped me a great deal because he was a musician himself and dreamed of stardom of his own. But we wrote a lot of songs together. But he was that person that really helped me the most in those early days.
When you auditioned for that show and you were 10 years old, were you nervous?
Oh, of course, you're always nervous. I'm still nervous. When I do stuff, everybody says, oh, you seem so relaxed. I said, well, I am once the spotlight hits me.
Yeah.
Once I'm on stage, I'm there. So it's either do or die, kind of, so to speak. So I'm always fine, but while you're waiting backstage to go on that's where they say butterflies in your stomach. You just really, but I think that kind of energy, though, that nervous energy, even energy of any kind is good, as long as you make it work for you, as long as you don't panic with it.
Yeah.
But even as a little kid, I love the excitement of getting to sing in front of somebody.
Yeah.
I liked the attention of thinking that somebody was looking at me,
and
I was doing something that somebody appreciated. It made me feel big and and special. So that was something that kind of. I kind of got addicted to that, I think, early on. And I thought, I got to get better and better so I can keep doing what I do because I like that feeling.
You said you always believed in your talent.
Well, I did, and I do.
Where did that belief come from?
I guess my mama did it because I was always writing these songs, stuff I'd never lived, and love songs, people getting killed in the war. I would hear everybody talking, and I'd write all these songs. And Mama was fascinated with the fact that I could do that. So anybody that would come to our house, Mama would say, "Run and get your guitar." And then she'd say, "I want you to hear what this little young'un has wrote." So, and then everybody would listen and they'd think, oh, well, that's really something. So I think I believed in it because I felt like I was doing something that everybody else wasn't doing at that moment, at that time. And so that fed back into that whole thing. I was getting that attention. And then being from that big a family, you didn't have time for a lot of special attention with each child as your parents.
You had to fight for every minute.
So I think I was fighting. But I do believe that, there's a lot of people more talented than me that write songs better, but I don't think there's anybody out there that loves doing it any more than me. And I believed that I had enough talent to take that and do something with it and make a living out of what I love to do. And I have.
Somebody in one of the articles I read who had worked with you called you a musical savant.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. The idiot part would be more like it.
But the songwriting part has always seemed to come very naturally to you. I don't think you get enough credit as a lyricist.
Well, thank you for saying that, because I take myself more serious as a songwriter than anything else, and if I had to give up every other part of the business, I would choose to be a writer. Because that's my therapist, my guitar is my friend. Anything that I feel that I'm going through, anything that I see other people that I love going through that don't know how to express it, I'm able to do that. I'm able to channel their feelings as well as mine. And I love that I can rhyme. Early on, I was able to rhyme.
Yeah.
You know, I can rhyme words good.
But it's not just your rhyming, Dolly. It's the words you pick. It's the words you use.
Thank you.
It's really, I mean, you've written some amazing songs.
Well, I love doing it, let's put it that way, and I hope I can always write. And of course, I love singing the songs I write, love recording them, and I love hearing other people sing songs I write, and that's always a big thrill to any writer to hear somebody else do your songs.
Yeah. You made a cameo appearance on Beyonce's country album.
Yes.
And she did Jolene. It must be nice to keep hearing your music come back like that.
Well, it is, and a lot of people ask me, well, what did you think about Jolene? I wish you'd have done it, you know, like the real Jolene. I thought, well, I said, look, I wrote that song 50-some years ago. Times have changed. Beyonce is not, you know, your average artist. Writers love it when people take their songs and interpret it their own way. I was proud of what she did. I had not heard it.
Yeah.
I was just assuming it was going to be the, you know, the Jolene, the traditional way. But when I heard it, I thought, wow, boy, she put a lot into that.
Yeah.
She put a lot of thought and effort into Jolene. But yes, it's a great feeling to hear your songs done by other artists. And that was a great album of hers, by the way.
Do you have a process?
Not really. As a skilled writer or somebody, it's just a way of life with me, what I do. Everything I do is just part of who I am. I don't even think about that. I'll be walking through the house going to do something else, and I'll have a basket of laundry or something, and I'll see my guitar sitting there, and all of a sudden I'll set the basket down, go get my guitar and sit down for a minute, and you know, I may write a song and I may get back to the laundry, I may not.
Yeah.
But my point is, it's just natural for me. If something hits me, everything is a song to me. Yeah, everything is a song. And I can always, you know, every situation that I see on TV, I think of it almost like in a song. I think, that'd make a good song.
You're turning it into a song in your head?
Yeah, in my head. It's like, so I get a lot of ideas from just watching the news or watching TV.
Yeah.
And, that's where most writers find their inspiration, just everyday living.
So when you get those ideas, what do you do with them?
What do I do with the ideas?
Yeah, I mean, because if you've got this stuff flowing through your head, obviously you have to write it down or put it somewhere.
Yeah, I often do. Sometimes if I've got a melody, if a melody comes to me, sometimes I'll just be humming and I'll think, ooh, that's good. Yeah. And I know if I don't go do something about it, go put it down, you know, record it, I'll forget that melody. Now, it just may be a piece of the melody. Yeah. Or it may be more, maybe a verse maybe a verse melody and a chorus melody. Yeah. But I want to get that down, so I don't always, or sometimes if I write down a bunch of lyrics that are coming to me, just lines, then I don't want to lose that. And then sometimes when I have the time, I'll go back and start to work in both of those. Then sometimes, which is my favorite, is when I get a chance to sit down, I'll just start playing, and the words and the music just come. And I just start, I don't always, like all writers, I don't always perfect the words. If I've got a good melody and a good thing going, I'll just make up a bunch of words just to fill in the gaps to fit that melody. Yeah. And then I think, well, I'll go back and critique that later and work on that. So it just comes, it's just different every time, but it's there every day.
It is. Because given how busy you are, I'm amazed you can even have time to write songs.
Well, that's the one thing I do easy. I'll be putting on my makeup and I can write 2 or 3 songs, or I'll come up with a funny idea or make something I'm thinking to make me laugh out loud myself, and I think, that would make a funny song. Or that would make a good song. Yeah. So it doesn't matter where I'm at, in the kitchen, or if I'm cooking, or if I'm riding, I'll see something. I always keep a notepad or some way to, to record something close by.
Do you get excited when you get a good lyric?
Yes, I do. Are you a writer?
Yes.
Because only another writer would know that. Sometimes if I get a good line, I go, yes, where'd that come from? That has to be something divine out there, because I'm too stupid to have thought of that. Like my line of tumble out of bed and stumble to the kitchen, pour myself a cup of ambition. That just rolled right out. I hadn't even thought about it.
That's a great line.
And then when I thought of that one, I went, wow, that's as good as this cup of coffee's going to be.
It's really special when that happens.
I know, it's a fun thing, but I have some that's not that flippant, but sometimes, I'll just get a line and I go, whoa, that's pretty good for me. Because I said it has to come from somewhere because I ain't that smart.
Well, that is the wonderful mystery of it all, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I love that, though. But I love that I can write. That's one of the things I appreciate so much. Of all the things that I do, I love that I can write because I can express everything.
When you got on the bus after you graduated from high school and went to Nashville, you went there to be a singer, not just a songwriter.
No, I went to be a star, which was going to involve songwriting and singing and recording. Had not at that time thought anything about being in the movies.
Yeah.
It took me years and years to even want to do that. I had no real interest in that at that time. I just wanted to be, become a country music star and have my songs recorded by other people and record them myself. I was just thinking I wanted to be, be a star.
But when you went down Music Row, everybody turned you down as a vocalist.
And I think everybody that walks the streets of Music Row at that time, they still call it that. But at that time, they had the Country Music Hall of Fame was down on Music Row, and they had the fountain there. And I wrote a song called Down on Music Row.
Yes.
And it really talks about my journey when everybody, going into these offices, oh, don't wait, they won't be back. Just leave a tape, we'll listen, But I never gave up. I just kept on.
Why didn't you give up?
Well, because giving up ain't in me. I never once thought about it. I told my mom and dad when I left that I wouldn't be home till I had something to show for it.
Yeah.
And meaning, I'll have to do something. I knew I could always come home. Yeah. So that gave me, I was going to be poor here. I was going to be poor there for a while. So what's the difference where you're going to be poor? You can always, manage. But I had my Uncle Bill, though. It's like he was working on the road a lot with other people playing guitar.
And you were writing with him.
Yeah, we wrote a lot of stuff together.
Yeah.
We had the #1 BMI song of the year in '66. Wow. A song recorded by someone else, a song we wrote together called "Put It Off Until Tomorrow," which is still considered a country classic. Yeah. But that was one of the first things, and I was singing the harmony on that particular record, and that's kind of how I got recognized with the radio stations. People were calling, "Who's the girl singing that harmony with Bill Phillips?" In this record. Yeah. So it's just everything in life is a journey, step after step, this and that. But I'd always dreamed and hoped that I would make it, and I used to wonder what I'd be, how I'd think about life after I got older. Think back on my life, and now that I am older, it's nice to know that, when I go through this, this museum here, the experience, the Dolly Experience they call it, well, nobody knows Dolly better than Dolly. And I got so emotional when they had that all put together, going back, reliving my life. Yeah. You know how they say sometimes that when you start to die, that your whole life flashes before you. Yes. Well, it about killed me going through there because I got so emotional about so many of the pieces. Yeah. And, Mom and Daddy are gone now, but seeing them so alive, and Kenny Rogers and so many of my friends, and it just really was overwhelming. But looking back on my life, there's very little I would change. In looking back on it, did any parts of it surprise you in any way? I think I'm more surprised now. Yeah. Looking back on it, like going into this museum, seeing all the things I've done. Yeah. I never slowed down. I didn't even realize I'd done all that. Yeah. I know you know it, but to see somebody say it, where'd you get that? Yeah. How'd you get your hands on that? Yeah. I've never seen that. Yeah. It's that kind of a thing. And then when you see that whole body of work, it's like, wow, that's a lot of times. That's a lot of miles traveled, a lot of tears shed, a lot of pain, and a lot of joy. So to see your whole life laid out before you in a museum like that, especially at my age, because that's pretty much, I'll do some more things, hopefully. Like my Broadway musical and other things, my life story is that. I'm sure there'll be other projects, but for the most part, I've pretty much... You've written most of the chapters. I've written most of the chapters. I'm on my last chapter because of my, my age and everything. But I want it to really be the best one. Yeah. I want the story to end really well. Are you working on an ending? No, well, I'm working every day on an ending. And when that ending comes, I hope it's quick and fast. Don't you?
Yes. One of the most interesting chapters to me in that whole saga is the Porter Wagoner chapter, because it's such a complex period for you, because you get lifted up, but you also kind of get held back.
Yeah.
There's so much going on at the same time.
That was a mixture of love and hate kind of a thing, like when we were both bullheaded, both very strong-willed, and it was Porter's show. But it was me with my dreams, and I'd never gone to Nashville to be somebody's girl singer. I wanted to be the singer, the girl singer in my own band. Yeah. But I was very fortunate and lucky, and I don't take anything away from that. Yeah. I learned a lot from Porter. I learned a lot of things to do, and I learned a lot of things not to do.
It really, in many ways, it was kind of a crash course in the entire industry.
It was, and in life.
Yeah.
So it's like I said to Porter, you didn't discover me working at a Q-tip factory. I had already been on Grand Ole Opry before you when I was a kid. Yeah. But those are the kind of the fun things that I've added in the show, where we, in the Broadway show, where we both are very comical. We both had a great sense of humor. Yeah. So a lot of the ways that I've dealt with the Porter Dolly years in the musical is through songs and through the comedy of it all, because it was just ridiculous. The fights we had to have in order to try to get our point across. Yeah. And all that. But I wouldn't take nothing for it now, because it's all of those things and all those people that make you who and what you are.
Yeah, but I mean, to the point of what you learn, I mean, you were doing 2 duet albums a year, 2 solo albums a year, 200 shows a year, and a TV show?
Yeah, that's what I said. When you're doing that, you don't think about what you're doing. You're just doing it. That's what I mentioned earlier about when you see your life before you in the museum, and you think, how in the world could anybody cover that, that much territory in a lifetime?
And did it phase you at the time?
Well, I don't guess you think about it like that. Yeah. You're thinking about survival, not just of your personal self, but also for your profession. You think, well, you got to become a professional really quick.
Yeah. What do you think you learned then?
Well, I learned to stand up for myself. Yeah. I learned to stand on my own. Yeah. I learned to really use my talent as my strength and my power, because I thought, well, if I can't do this on just my own stamina and my own grit and gut, I will just write so many good songs. Yeah. I'll just outdo him. I will just be so good that I'll just have to go. Yeah. If he won't let me go, he would not allow me to have other producers, and he didn't want me going on other people's shows. Yeah. Like when I started to get famous within the show, say a Johnny Carson show. Yeah. How everybody wants like a new girl singer. But anyway, everything was kind of a threat with that. Yeah. But Porter was good. I love Porter. It was really I don't know. I guess we were there's a line in one of my songs like, we're either so different we can't get along, or we're so much alike. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of truth in both of that.
In both of those.
Yeah, I think it was meant to be, though.
You wrote "I'll Always Love You."
Yes.
As you were trying to leave. Mm-hmm.
That was the only way that I could get through to Porter, because I was wanting to go on my own. I had said I'd stay 5 years. Yeah. I stayed 7. Yeah. And it was just, I was really growing. I was outgrowing the show if Porter wasn't willing to work with me for us to even be better. I would have been willing to stay with the show. We could have made the show even bigger, but it was the Porter show, not the Dolly show. Yeah. And I respect that, and I don't blame him. Yeah. But I stayed, and it got to where we were both very uncomfortable. Right. It was nothing but just tension and all that.
You took that song to him. You played it for him.
I said, sit down, Porter, I've written a song for you, and I started singing the song, just me and my guitar. Yeah. And he started crying, and he said, "That's the best song you ever wrote, and if you let me produce it, you can go." I said, "Okay, I'm out of here. You can do it." But anyway, he produced a couple more of the songs that I did, and there was a gap, between where Porter sued me and all that. But after years went by, we became friends again, and I was with Porter when he was dying.
That whole story is a movie in and of itself.
I know. Well, it's a big part of the
well, there's just so much going on in it. It's so interesting. I have to admit, I had not heard the Elvis story, and I was shocked that I hadn't heard it. How did Elvis pitch you about that song?
Well, I knew one of Elvis's producers, Felton Jarvis. Anyway, so someone called me and said, Elvis wants to do I Will Always Love You. And I think it was Felton Jarvis that had called me that night. Yeah. And he said, Elvis would like you to come down to the studio because he's doing I Will Always Love You. And so I was so excited, of course, I called and told everybody. Yeah. Elvis was doing my song and I was going to meet him. Yeah. And so later I got the call from Colonel Tom Parker. And he said, no, you know, we don't do any songs that we don't publish or have half published. And I'd already had a #1 song on it of my own. And I said, well, no, I can't do that.
He specifically said, we won't do this unless we get half the publishing.
Half the publishing. He wanted all the publishing. I said, well, it's going to be the biggest heartbreak of my life. You can't have it. I can't do that because this is my most important copyright. And it was not Elvis's fault. He loved the song. Yeah. In fact, Priscilla told me later that was something, you know, when they were walking down the steps, you know, at the courthouse when they divorced, he was singing that to her, that I Will Always Love You. That's how much he loved it. Yeah. Wow.
You put a song on your recent Rockstar album about Elvis.
Oh, I wrote this song because I was heartbroken when he didn't do it, and I could just hear him singing I Will Always Love You, and I thought, oh, I'm not one to just let something go. So Ronnie McDowell is a guy that sounds just like Elvis. Yeah. But he don't dress like him. He's not an Elvis impersonator, but he used to travel with Elvis. And when Elvis' voice was bad, he used to kind of cover, you know, for Elvis, you know, back there behind the scenes. So I asked him if he'd come and sing on that because I wrote this song, I Dreamed About Elvis, and in it I got to sing I Will Always Love You with an Elvis sound-alike. But it's a funny, cute story about that whole story about Colonel Tom. And them taking it, so yeah.
You actually recorded that like 22 years ago.
I did. That song, when we got ready to do the rock album, Kent Wells, who produced the rock album, he's changed a few instruments around, but my voice, everything on that, the backgrounds, that was the real Jordanaires singing on that. Yeah. So anyway, it was a special tune.
How many more tunes do you have in the drawer?
Oh, I got all kinds of stuff in the drawer. Songs included.
How many songs have you actually released? Do you know?
Hundreds and hundreds. I don't really know with a career like mine, but I've written thousands of songs.
You have?
Well, that's what I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I started young and I'm old now. Yeah. So you can only imagine how many songs I've got stuck in drawers and in chests and all kinds of things.
Do you think about legacy?
Yeah. That's what I'm doing with this. I think that's what you're here for, to talk about.
I didn't know. So what's important to you in that?
Well, I love the idea of my roots, my musical roots, and involving my family. But I want to be known as someone that cared not only just about myself and about my music and about my family, very spiritual person, but I like to help people. Just like my Imagination Library, where we give books away to children from the time they're born. Once a month they get a book until they start school. And that's been a wonderful program because my dad couldn't read and write. And so that's what inspired me to do that program and got my dad involved, you know, when it started years and years ago. So now it's become a worldwide thing. We've given way over 200 million books. So I'm proud of that. So that's part of my legacy that I'm proud of. But I'd like to be thought of as a decent human being. I want to be thought of when you think of me when I'm gone. I'd like you to smile, to think, oh, she was funny, or oh, she had a good sense of humor. Yeah. You know, even when she was sad, she'd make a joke about it, or you know. So I just want to be. I would just like to be known for what I think I am, which is just a regular person. I always say I'm a workhorse that looks like a show horse, but I work. You know, I work for what I do, and I love my job. Love that I can make a living doing it, but I just hope I leave something good behind for other people to enjoy and to draw from.
How long did you spend planning this?
Well, we've been thinking about it for years, but about 3 years it's taken to really get all of the pieces together and all the storefronts and all the beautiful things like that butterfly.
This is for all your costumes.
Well, yeah, everything in here, I'll explain it to you. This is called Behind the Seams. And of course, when you get behind the scenes, you get to know everything about all my clothes and how they're done and who the people are that put it all together.
A little bit of your hair.
Oh, well, that's a big one there. I've had it bigger than that in my lifetime.
I know you have.
Everybody said that hair was wearing you. Yeah, well, this is kind of where we plan all our things. And keep all the jewelry and where all the, the people working on the costumes and try to figure it all out and plan it all out.
How many wardrobe changes do you have in a year? It must be
heavens,
hundreds.
A year?
Yeah.
It would be hundreds, it really would. And we have different people working on it. Steve Summers is the one that kind of is our creative director and a designer, and he makes sure that all the things are good, because we have all kinds of different things that we do.
Yeah.
Everything is like something like this. I'm never casual, not really. So I
do you
thought
ever,
I want to have it a little casual.
Do you ever rewear these, or are they like one?
I do, or take pictures in them, and sometimes if it's something I love, I will have it remade, redone if it fits good and shows the right things in the right places. You know? But yeah, we usually, I would wear something, like if we played something here at Dollywood, like the opening, and I loved it.
Yeah.
It might be something I would wear on tour.
Yeah.
If it had all the right sequins and things. Oh, I love that. So won't you split the side up a little bit and, plunge it just a little. And,
Everything you wear is thought out, planned, and custom made for you.
Absolutely. Well, the things that have to do with show. I got junk clothes like everybody else. But anyway, they're the ones I'm most comfortable in. But I'm also comfortable in rhinestones. I've lived my life in rhinestones. But yeah, and that's kind of what this is about, behind the scenes. My life in rhinestones is what it's called.
I love this over here. I don't know if you've done this. Have you?
Oh, this is the most fun thing. I don't know if you remember, but all the little paper dolls.
Yeah. Well, this is like color forms. We were talking about it.
And kids, they get to kind of dress. Yeah, go ahead and dress.
I can actually dress you.
Dolly. You can dress me, and it sticks on there, and and then you can get all the hairdos and
pick out a hairstyle.
Cutest thing, and you can pick out. Well, they're all big. Can you get that for me?
I got that one.
My nails are too long. Yeah.
Put that one
on. You go ahead and dress Dolly.
Okay, come on, Dolly.
I dress her every day.
But we also got to give you We also got to give you a guitar.
Oh, let's see.
Or a banjo.
Which one do you like?
I like this one.
Okay, well, it's your show. Give her a guitar.
Thank you.
Oh, that's perfect. Well, I just think this is the most fun thing, and kids love playing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we may have to merchandise that someday. Make my own paper dolls, Dolly dolls.
Dolly dolls.
Yeah, that's what we can call them. But all of these costumes are things that I've worn on different shows, or in TV, or on movies.
I love this.
And that's one of my rock and roll outfits. When I did my rock album, I had all these rocking clothes, and I loved it.
The boots are fabulous, too.
Oh, yeah, I'm a big shoe person, because I'm so short. I love the tall shoes, but I actually loved high heels when I was little, before I knew I was even going to be short.
Yeah.
But through the years, they've served me well.
Some of these heels are a little precarious.
They are. They're at least 5 inches.
Yeah.
Some of them more, some of them 4. But, it depends on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I like them high. The older I get, the littler I get, so the taller my shoes get.
This is gorgeous, too. I love this.
Oh, that was made years ago by a designer called Tony Chase, who's not with us anymore.
Yeah.
But that was one of the first things I ever had made that was like a custom-made thing in Hollywood. I thought that looked very royal. It's overdone, but...
No, it's not.
I'm often overdone. That's my...
That's your thing.
My life in rhinestone, yeah. Are those bell-bottomed enough for you?
Yeah, they're fabulous, yeah.
You can hear them ringing from here, can't you? I can. But anyway, these are all, that's a slogan of mine. It's hard to be a diamond in a rhinestone world. That's one of those lines you had asked me about in an interview we did. About some of the lines as a writer you get excited about.
Yes.
That was one of them. When I thought, it's hard to be a diamond in a rhinestone world. But that was one of those. But anyway, these are, these are clothes. I did a series on Netflix.
Yeah.
All based on stories from my songs.
Yeah.
And this was the Jolene show we did. And so these were just costumes, from that particular movie.
They gave you wings.
Oh, I know. I got my wings. I'm no angel. I just play one on TV often. I don't know why they think I should play an angel. Because I'm fair, I guess, and white hair.
That's great.
It has to be that. Anyway, I have my own line of cosmetics. And see, these are my perfumes, and I've got a new line of makeup coming out, but these are all the different
You've always wanted to have that, the makeup line.
I have, and I'm going to have it now.
It looks like you've had the foresight to archive pretty much everything you've had and done over the years.
My best friend, Judy Ogle, She's been my best friend since 3rd grade.
Wow.
And we traveled together. And so she started early on, saving everything.
Yeah.
Everybody thought she was just a hoarder. But now, then they see that so much of this, had it not been for Judy, we wouldn't even have it.
Wow.
Yeah, and so different members of my family, my niece, Rebecca Seaver, she works in my archives. She's my little niece, my namesake.
Right.
She's known me since she was a baby.
Yeah.
So she picked up where Judy left off.
Right.
And she's the one that helped put all of these things together.
Yeah.
You know, for the...
Because one of the things I loved in, I mean, all of this, but also some of the other artifacts, like I was looking in Songteller, that the dry cleaning receipt that you wrote Coat of Many Colors on the back of. I love that.
I know, I did too. That was when I was with the Porter Wagner show.
Yeah.
And I just remember this coming to my mind on the bus. We were traveling on his bus at that time. And so he was walking through, he just picked up his costumes at the cleaner.
Yeah.
And we were going on tour. And I just saw that tag and I had nothing to write on, and I just grabbed that tag off his clothes, and I started writing Coat of Many Colors. And then later he gave that to me.
So he'd kept it.
He had kept it.
Yeah.
And then he gave it to me later.
Wow. I love that. You said something else in the book that really struck me. You said, as a songwriter, I have to leave myself wide open. I suffer a lot because I am open so much. I hurt a lot. I wanted to talk to you about that.
Well, how much hurt do you want me to tell you?
You can tell me all the hurt you want.
No, I just mean in order to be a songwriter, you have to leave your heart open and your mind open. Because
that means you've got to feel all that stuff.
You have to feel it.
Yeah.
Well, either that or you just do feel it, and that's why you write songs.
Yeah.
That could go either way, I guess.
Yeah.
But of course, like I had told you earlier, is that I not only write for myself, I hurt for other people as well. Like say if I have a friend or a sister going through a breakup or a heartache, if they can't write it, I write it, and then it's therapy for them.
Right.
And they love it, and then they got, you know, I made something out of that.
Is that the way you have processed your feelings and emotions, you think, from the beginning?
Yes, I think so, because when you grow up, as I mentioned, in a big house, there's a lot of racket, a lot of noise.
Yeah.
You have to make your own space. You have to find your own place.
Yeah.
And then you get used to that place, and you love that place.
Yeah.
And that's where you can go and nobody else can go.
Right.
And you find your peace there, and you find all the things that you need.
Yeah.
And it's where all the tools are that you need to work with.
Right. What has music meant to you?
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Music is the way I express everything that I feel.
Yeah.
Everything I know.
Yeah.
And if it had not been for a song, none of this would be here.
Right.
Everything began with a song for me.